Hey crew, welcome to the first session of the guiding program. Today's session, I'm going to be giving you a rundown of the 10-week program so you know what that will look like. I'll also go through expectations, assessment tasks. I'll go into detail about the first 3 assessment tasks, and hopefully that gives you a good picture of what this program will look like. Please have a notebook and pen so you can write down any questions. And if you really need to ask those questions and you want answers straight away, feel free to drop me an email. Otherwise, hold on to your notebook and pen. And when we do our face-to-face check-in session, so our live Zoom session for the mainstreams, it'll be on Tuesday. For the trainees, it'll be on Thursday. You can ask those questions then. I'll give you more information on those drop-in sessions about times, because we'll be doing them in small groups this week. But I'll give you more information on that in an email. All right, so I'm going to begin. I've got a PowerPoint prepared, and yeah, I will put that on the screen. Okay, so introduction to our guiding program. So this is just part 1 of 2 parts of today's session. The second session will be in a separate video. So our outline for this session, I'm going to run through the units that will be delivered, how they're going to be delivered, the objectives of our program, so what I hope to you all to have achieved by the end of the program. Going to talk a little bit about Zoom. Don't worry so much about Moodle, that's not up and running just yet, but I'll talk about how I'm going to be giving you information, expectations for classes and assessments. So that's my expectations from you as the participants, and then assessment tasks. So all our assessment tasks and the due dates, plus a little rundown of our class schedule. All right, so we're covering 3 main units over these 10 weeks, and they are the 3 units listed there. So the first is develop and maintain the general and regional knowledge required by guides. The second is prepare and present tour commentaries or activities. And the third is provide a briefing or scripted commentary. You'll notice the 3 blue links down below. So if you are interested to know more about the framework around each of those units, then please click on those links and you'll go to the training.gov website, and it will tell you what my framework is, what I've been given to work with in order to develop assessment tasks and the criteria of the classes. Okay, so that is there for you to have a look at if you desire. And like I said, the program will run for 10 weeks and there'll be a range of assessment tasks and content delivered over that time. All right, so some objectives that we are trying to achieve throughout the program. I want you to come away knowing how to gather a variety of information and ensuring that it's from reputable sources. I want you to be able to develop personalised content based on the information that you gather. Use bibliographies so that you can cite all the sources of where you've got your information to show that you are not plagiarising. Demonstrate a range of methods of delivering information. Present information in an informative and engaging way. Use techniques to construct information to present to an audience. Understand and develop interpretive messages, programs and presentations based on the theory which we'll be covering, and create written scripts for each of your presentations. Like I said, we'll be using Zoom. Don't worry so much about Moodle. Moodle is hopefully going to be up and running in the coming weeks, but in its place, I'll be emailing you all the content. So you should have received this via email, and that is how I'll get all the information to you. So please let me know if there's any changes with your email addresses, or if there's a better way to contact you. But Zoom will be our method of touching base with our drop-in sessions. I'm also using Zoom for these recordings as well. Yeah, so please get familiar with Zoom. There's a heap of great things that you can do with Zoom, and you might find it useful for your presentations down the track. There's how-to, that this page just has a link to a how-to page. how-to video, I should say, through YouTube, but the website also has some great how-to videos, so please make use of the website. So my expectations of you for the classes and for assessments, pretty straightforward, but I require that you complete all weekly tasks and upload, that are uploaded or emailed out. Like I said, they'll be emailed out until Moodle is up and running. I want you to attend all our weekly check-in sessions. Sometimes these will be one-on-one, sometimes they will be in a group. I want you to complete and submit all assessment tasks by the required dates to the required standard. And I'm going to run through assessment tasks 1, 2, and 3 shortly, which I'll go into detail about and show you how I've broken down the expectations of those tasks. And then lastly, I want you to take on feedback. So sometimes those drop-in sessions will be me giving you feedback from assessment tasks. And so it's important that you take on that feedback and then you put it into practice for future assessment tasks. This is a rundown of the 9 assessment tasks, which will be, that are spaced out over the 10-week period. You can see the due dates, and what you'll notice is that some of the tasks have the same due dates. So they are, I guess you could look at it as part 1 and part 2, or part A and part B of one assessment task. So that is 4 and 5 are paired, 6 and 7 are paired, 8 and 9 are paired also. Okay, so I'm just going to open up the information I've got for task 1, and I'll go through that in a little bit of detail. Okay, so this is assessment task 1. All the assessment tasks are going to be laid out like this. So you can see the qualification name and code at the top, the assessment task name and number. So this is assessment task 1 and it is titled location questions, and it's got the due date there as well. So this due date is this coming Sunday, and each of your tasks will be due no later than that Sunday, so that it's submitted and then we can start the next week of work. Obviously, if you need to get in touch because you've had something come up and you can't get an assessment task in on time, please touch base. Also, requiring extensions and things like that. Totally want to be flexible, understand not everyone is very excited about all this online virtual classroom stuff. So obviously we want to be as flexible as possible, but where possible and you've got the time, please try and get those tasks in on time and start the conversations early if you can't. All right, so then unit being assessed. Like I said, some tasks will be specific to one unit like this one. Others will be specific to multiple units. So what you do in the assessment task will relate to more than just one unit. You're then asked to put your name in the student name box. And then below that, we've got the details. Okay, so this is task 1. Task 1 is location questions. And what I'm asking of you is to answer all these questions down below using research techniques. So like I said, my next video is going to be focused around researching bibliographies and that sort of stuff. But here's just a small list of places where you can gather information. So I'm going to be allocating you each a location. So there's going to be 4 different locations, and as a group, you'll have a couple of other students who will also be focused on the same location. All assessments are individual tasks. However, you'll have the opportunity to brainstorm and discuss research and findings with your location group. And when we do our group check-ins, when we're in small groups, you'll be with those people from the same, who are researching the same location as you. So I will be allocating those locations today, not in this video, but I will give you that information. And so based on that location, you'll be answering all these questions. So they're subheadinged European culture and heritage, flora and fauna, Indigenous culture, recreation, geology and geography. And it's also asked that you provide a bibliography for where you're finding your information. So in the next slide, I'll go into a bit of detail about constructing a bibliography and referencing your information, but it's good to sort of do that as you go. So as you're finding your information, note down where you're getting that information from. And it's important that we're using a range of researching sites or tools. So websites, books, ebooks, podcasts, journals, YouTube videos, and so forth. So please have a read through. I'll be emailing this out, but have a read through it in your own time. And again, have your questions ready for our drop-in session. Okay, so that is assessment task 1. Right, so this one looks very similar. However, this is assessment task 2, as you'll see, brochure. Different due date also. So this is due the following week, the 3rd of May. And again, this specific unit this assessment is specific to that one unit. Develop and maintain the general and regional knowledge required by guides. So some information about the task, and you'll also see a rubric. So this rubric gives you a bit of an idea about what I'm looking for in terms of assessing your tasks that you submit. So looking at the organization of your pamphlet or your brochure, your ideas, grammar and punctuation, and the graphics used. And there's a bit of information about those different standards. Okay, so please have a look at that so you know what I'm looking for in terms of that assessment. And also please read through the information. Again, this information, if you've got any questions or if anything's not clear, please note down your questions so that you can ask it in the drop-in sessions. Or like I said, send me an email if you need answers sooner rather than later. But pretty much assessment task 2 is, based on some of the information that you gather in your questions for assessment task 1, you are then asked to create a brochure. So a brochure for that allocated region. And that brochure can be targeted at, it could be a general information brochure. So trying to entice people to come and visit that location, giving them some specific broad information that might entice a range of audiences. Or you might choose a specific target audience. So you might have your brochure focused on nature lovers and or luxury travelers or young families traveling on a budget. So you can choose how specific you want to be or how broad you want to be in terms of your target audience, but it's an opportunity to think about all the questions that you answered in task 1 and bring some of that information into an engaging and interesting and aesthetically pleasing brochure that people might look at, read, and go through, that will then make them want to visit that area. Okay, so please have a read through the assessment task, and like I said, ask any questions in our drop-in session. All right, and assessment task 3. So again, as you can see, assessment task 3 and the due date is the following week. So the 10th of May. Now this PowerPoint presentation, although it says presentation, it does not require you to present the slides like what I was doing in my previous presentation. This is the opportunity for you to develop a PowerPoint with pictures, with information, and any added extras. So you might add links to a video from YouTube, or a little piece of audio, or maybe some sounds. Maybe you're focusing on birds of the area, or you know, insects, and you found audio of the noises those animals make. You can embed those into your PowerPoints. But yeah, it's an opportunity to present some information in PowerPoint style. Now, different to your brochure was quite broad. This task is asking you to be more specific. So within your designated region, and as you can see, I've actually written the regions in this task. We've got 1 being the Grampians, 2 being the Gippsland Lakes, 3 being Otways, and 4 being the Alpine National Park. So I'll be allocating you each one of those regions, which you'll be focusing on for the 10 weeks. Yeah, and so this PowerPoint is focused on a specific topic within that region. So maybe from your questions, so task 1, you have found a particular topic that really interested you, or something that you want to know more about, or maybe there's something you already have an interest in. And I want you to hone in on that and create a PowerPoint presentation on that. Like I said, you don't need to do any audio over the top, so you don't need to talk about each slide. I want it to be self-explanatory. So a clear introduction, page 1, you know, with your topic or your theme or whatever it is. Then a breakdown of, you know, the body. So I'm going to be covering this, 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 and this, and some sort of wrap up. Please, I want you to make it interesting, use whatever added extras you can to make it engaging and keep people enticed, whoever's watching it, which for the most part will be me. But I want you to think about it as, let's say you're employed by a local parks company, and or by Parks Victoria within one of these regions, and they've asked you to put together a PowerPoint that's going to be up on a TV on the wall of an information centre, so people can come in as they're browsing brochures and finding out more about what to do in that area, and they can just look at your PowerPoint, and maybe you're talking about birds specifically of the region, and you've chosen 3 birds to hone in on. Bird 1 is this one, some interesting facts, what it sounds like and where we might find it. Bird 2, bird 3, and then you might wrap up by recapping with some questions, or some bird noises, or I don't know, something a little bit fun. But I want clear intro, body, and conclusion. And again, we've got our marking criteria here, so please make sure you have a look at that. Okay, so that is the third of our first 3 assessment tasks. In the email, you'll receive these 3 documents, so the 3 assessment tasks, and you've got the due dates there. So you can start on those 3 in your own time, just knowing the order that they need to be submitted in. But like I said, question 1 will help you with assessment 1 will help you with assessment 2, and assessment 2 will then help you with assessment 3. It's all about your ability to research a topic, gather information, and show that you can present it in different ways using different programs and yeah, different methods. Okay. All right, so back to our assessment task page with the due dates. So we just covered task 1, 2, and 3, and next week I'll send out 4 and 5. So you can start looking at that and maybe gathering information or thinking about what you're going to be talking about there. With each of your presentation assignments, so task 4 and 5 is the first, task 6 and 7 is the second, and task 8 and 9 is the third. So for each of those, I will be working with you to come up with your focus topic And yeah, so I'll be working with you to decide what interests you and how to make what might look like a very small topic into a bit more of a broader topic. So we'll be doing that in the coming weeks. All right, so that's our assessment tasks in a bit of a nutshell. I've done a little bit of a class schedule. So week 1, that's this week. You can have a look at the different things that we're covering there. Week 2, you'll see in brackets next to week 2, task 1 is due before classes resume. So ideally the due dates are all Sundays. So the Sunday before Monday's upload of the next week's information. So where possible, please get them in by those Sundays. If not, please start those conversations with me earlier. And you'll see the content that we're going to be covering in week 2. Moving on to week 3, week 4. So we're going to start covering how to present, how to create an engaging presentation, tips and tricks and added extras, because it's all about you, making people care about the topic that you're presenting on. So we'll go into a bit of detail on that. And then 5, 6 and 7 will be broadly looking at different regions around Victoria. So in my topics, and then in our check-in sessions, it's more focused around your assessments. And then week 8 and 9 will be virtual journeys. So it's the final presentation. Some of you will be presenting in week 8, some of you will be presenting in week 9. If you are presenting in week 8, you will be an audience member for some of the presentations in week 9 and vice versa. So part of your assessment will be actually giving feedback. So your first 2 presentations will be, let me go back to those. The first 2 presentations, so task 4 and task 6, they are pre-recorded and uploaded, or pre-recorded and emailed in. And you'll have, not only will I be watching them to assess, some of your peers will be watching and giving feedback. So that feedback will come through me and it will be anonymous, but it gives each and every one of you an opportunity to learn about a different location, to see how other people are presenting, and to have a go of giving feedback. And then you'll be able to do the same for some others. So yeah, hopefully that's a good way of learning about some different regions that we unfortunately don't get to visit this term. But might entice you to go and visit once we're allowed out again. Let me just go back. So yeah, in a bit of detail, our check-in sessions. So for the mainstream, it'll be Tuesdays, and for the trainees, it'll be Thursdays. But like I said, these sessions are either one-on-one or they're in small groups. They are an opportunity to clarify anything you're unsure of, to get help with assessments, to get feedback from me on assessments, and then to complete tasks that have been set out prior to the class commencing. So that is those check-in sessions in a nutshell. All right. Please, if you've got any questions from today's video, don't hesitate to send me an email or hold on to your questions until we meet in the Zoom room Tuesdays or Thursdays, depending on who you are. All right, that is enough from me for now. Please watch the second video once you've had a bit of a break from this one. And I look forward to checking in with you all in hours or days. All right, ciao for now.